and welcome to another Flosstube. My name is Britta Dasick. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm Britta's Always Crafting on YouTube. And yes, I am always crafting. Quick recap, because it has been a while. I live in St. Paul, Minnesota with my family, which includes a dog and a cat, and I'm a graphic designer by day. And I've been cross-stitching for a long time. I tried it a little bit when I was a teenager, but really got into modern patterns about 2 years ago. So I have lots to share today. I know I've been gone since December, and it is now April. And my last video was actually the very beginning of January. There's a lot of reasons for that. You can imagine some of them probably, but I'll give a bigger life update towards the end because it's a little bit of a bummer. Like, I'm fine, but it's, the general state of the world. Just a quick reminder, I may mention politics in this from a progressive perspective. If that does not appeal to you, that's fine. You don't have to watch the video. I have chapters below, either in the description or on the play bar, depending on what device you're using. So if you want to skip forward chapters, if a whip isn't sounding interesting, or you just want to skip to the life update, feel free to use those. They're all down there for you. So this is my fourth Flosstube. I have so many updates to share because although I haven't been on Flosstube for the last 4 months, I have been stitching a lot. So today I actually have 3 finishes, and they're all big finishes. 7 FFOs, which are mostly finally finishing those FFOs from October, but they're all looking pretty now. 1 start and finish, 4 new starts, and 2 whips. I hope that your spring is going well so far. The general chaos of the world is happening, but I hope you're finding your own pockets of joy and love, regardless of whatever else is going on. My first finish is Stitch for Pride 2025. I really wanted to get this done in the beginning of January into early February. I was just like, let's get these knocked out. If we're like 90% on them, they're getting 100%. And so that was a really great feeling heading into the new year, just like to start fresh, finish off some things that have been living in my mind rent-free. Here's what it looks like before, and here's what it looks like now. Oh my gosh, it's so cool. This is with the called for Mislaid pages, Aida, and the called for custom dyed floss. I've seen other people do this in the DMC colors and in monotone, and I think those look really cool too. But it was a really nice experience to use the called for because I don't usually do that. So as you can see here, I'll try to do a kind of slow pan. I'm really happy this piece is done. It was really cool to work each one of these motifs in only one color. I really like that. It's very colorful, but it is also really nice to just kind of blaze through a section and not have to change flosses. I found that that was really satisfying for me. The most recent ones added were this one right here and this one right here. This one right here. This one right here, the heart. All of these stories are so good. And here is how the back turned out. The back of this one is really nice because there are no color changes in each motif. It's a good feeling. This pattern will likely be available from Dees 20 Stitches sometime this year, likely around Pride if you want to get it for yourself. And it was just really cool to learn about all of these trans, non-binary, gender non-conforming people throughout history, and I loved having that learning in my inbox. D isn't doing another one this year. I do have the 2024 version that I purchased last Pride, I believe, so I would love to start that sometime soon, so that is definitely something I'd like to get to. This will be framed or a wall hanging. I'm not sure yet. I think this might look really cool just like on my wall without a frame around it. So I might do those poster snappy things at the top and bottom, but we'll see. It hasn't particularly chosen its path to me when I look at it. So I will update you when I finish it. Next, I have Extraordinary Birds by Lola Crow. As you can see, it's on my own hand-dyed 20 count Aida. I've used all the called for DMC threads, and here's what it looked like last time I showed you. And here's what it looked like now. I'm so proud of this one. I kind of ran out of steam when the last piece was announced because I didn't expect it to be such a big bird, and also one that I hadn't seen before. I do think it overall really balances out the piece, and I wanted to just get this done because I loved everything in this so much. I was kind of just hoping for some more really colorful birds, to be honest. Let me do a little scan of it for you. And I actually remembered to put my initials on it before I started framing it. Great. I've been really focusing on that lately. It's just wonderful. It had so many stitches in it, and it's great to have it done. I will definitely be hanging this. It will fit an 11 by 14 by 11 frame, but it would require a lot of border. So I think I will order a custom frame for this one from like Art to Frame so that it is just right and has only about an inch of border around it. This is what the back looks like if you're interested. I think all things considered, it's pretty neat. Definitely no carrying threads over blank spaces or anything. But as you can see, like up here with the parakeets, it gets a little wild, a little rough and ready with all the threads because you don't really want to stitch only one stitch and then tie it off. The fabric, I'm so happy with how this turned out. It's probably one of my most successful dye sessions to date because it just turned out so much like how I wanted it to look. Even if these colors, I don't know if I necessarily would have chosen this fabric myself, but I think it looks really good with the design and very close to the called for. And my final finish is 100 colors, 100 circles. This is by the Steady Thread. It is black work, and it's on Atomic Ranch Haze Aida in 18 count. I did one strand on this. This is what it looked like last time I showed it to you. And this is what it looks like now. I'm trying not to say this is so cool, but I think that's just what it is. As soon as I saw this pattern for the first time from the Steady Thread, I was obsessed. And I've seen other people's stitches too, and I'm still obsessed. My plan for this one was to stitch 2 circles every week of 2025, knowing that there would be 2 extra weeks in there, and it would help me remember the year. Well, the year turned into a year that I didn't necessarily want to remember every week of, so I lost steam on this. But I finished it up in March, on March 15th. Tracking stitches for this one was really difficult because how do you even count each one of these as stitches? So I just kind of ended up at 10,000 stitches. 100 colors times 100 stitches per thing is about 10,000 stitches. Here's a quick scan of how it looks overall. As a graphic designer, this makes my heart very happy. You can see the sense of movement coming through here, and you just get a good sense of all the colors. They go so well together, and I'm really excited to have this hanging on my wall. This is about 9.5 by 9.5 inches on this 18 count, and so I'm going to frame it in an 11 by 11 frame, and I think that will give it a perfect amount of border. This Haze Aida by Atomic Ranch is incredibly soft and was pretty fun to work with. It was pretty easy to get it like drum tight on my Q-snap, and I would definitely use it again. And because the way this is designed, there's no carrying threads between circles, so I didn't have to worry about it being a light fabric and carrying threads. I'm not opposed to carrying threads. There's a time and a place, and then sometimes you're using white fabric, and that is not the time and place. Here is the back of this one. I'd say it's pretty good. Third huge finish. This one finished in March. It's black work. This is my first time doing black work. I think I might enter it in the state fair, and there's definitely a couple mistakes in here, but that's okay. This one is also a finish. This is by Sue Hillis Designs. It's Keepsakes Book One, and this is the alphabet little sampler in it. I chose my own colors for this one. It's just so cute. I'm glad I finished it. I think I'm gonna finish this into a pillow, and I love the colors that I picked out, and it's just a cute reminder of my friends because I bought this and started this when I was in Cincinnati attending a retreat. I finished this on February 18th, 2026. It has about 1,240 stitches in it. Yes, I did put it into markup RXP. My start and finish one is Blueberry J by jedXstitch. It was a free pattern in a magazine, probably just CrossStitch. All the information will be right here. It is on 20 count Aida that I dyed myself with RIT-dyed. It was my first jedXstitch piece. Here's what it looks like. I absolutely adore this. I really, really, really wanted to just fully deep dive into Jessica's designs because they are so up my alley. Her colors are amazing, and I felt like this would be a really fun stitch, but I didn't want to dive into Cherry Magpie right away before trying the pattern I had for free. So I put this into Markup RXP. I took a screenshot from the pattern that was in the magazine, uploaded it to Markup RXP, and then individually marked off what each color should be so that it looks like a normal digital pattern, which takes a lot longer than it should. But I find it really helpful for my brain to not be working overtime when I'm stitching. And I adored stitching this. The style is so cool, it's unique, and the way she uses blocks of color is really interesting to me. It was kind of like, and I've heard this said before about jedXstitch's pieces, but it was like a potato chip stitch. It's just like you just want to eat another one. This one, I always wanted to put one more thread in it. And that's probably why I finished it very quickly in about half a month. I started on March 28th and finished on April 16th. It's about 3,200 stitches, give or take 60. And I loved every second of it and immediately bought Cherry Magpie. I've already had the fabric dyed, but I just wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure this would be as fun as I thought it would be, and it absolutely was, and that thrills me. Here's what the back looks like. It's okay. Because of the way Jessica uses blocks of color, it makes it easier to keep a clean back. And I really enjoyed the checkeredness of the blueberries. She does that because she doesn't like to stitch large areas of fill-in. I don't mind stitching large areas of fill-in, but I love the visual interest that the checker brings into the blueberry. And I think it's just such a good design. I love it. Before I get into my starts, whips, etc., I wanted to do fully finished object. I finally got around to finishing all of the things that I started finishing in October. Just the bug bit me again, and you just gotta go with it, right? I will share what these ended up looking like. So first we have Purranormal Activity. This is a magazine pattern stitch. Here's the info for it. So cute. I love this. In the back, I forgot to put my initials on this one, so I just stitched some rough initials on the back and added some felt to this. So it's finished in the hoop. I kind of would like to paint the outside of the hoop like hot pink or something like that, but I did not have the paint for that, and this was getting finished. So if I really want to paint it in the future, I will make it work. Then we have some flat finishes. These were done before, but I finally sewed on some trim around the edges to hide the kind of scruffy parts where the two flat chipboard covered pieces were stitched together. So this one, I just used some pom-pom trim, black pom-pom trim. This is the kind that can be separated from the little ribbon that it comes on, and it was perfect. This was also my first time ever sewing pom-pom trim on anything. It was difficult, and what I learned after doing this was that this is not a task for me to do while I'm watching like baseball or something. This is a task for me to do while like 80% of my brain is otherwise occupied. Otherwise, I can't focus on it. So I've been bringing this to when we're playing games with our friends or when we're playing board games, and that's been helping me get all of these done. This one I believe is Purr-fect Pirate. The info will be over here to my right. And I use some tinsel trim on this. This is old Tim Holtz tinsel trim, but you can definitely still get this tinsel trim in a variety of colors. This exact one just might not be available. It was orange, so I couldn't just use black thread in it, obviously. So I grabbed a color that was very similar, I believe this lighter orange from the pattern itself, and kind of whip stitched it on. And I'm super happy with how it turned out. And then another fall one, Halloween time. This is by the Witchy Stitcher. I had some velveteen ribbon in my stash that is slightly lighter than the teal that is in the picture itself, but it goes pretty well with it, especially since it kind of looks like it's glowing since it's a little bit lighter. The back of this is fabric I dyed in college in my surface design class. I loved that class so much. And this one does not have my initials on it, so I guess I need to buy labels. For this one, I couldn't figure out a way to stitch it on that wouldn't look really obvious and maybe kind of weird. So I used some score tape, that really sticky, very thin adhesive, to wrap it around the edges. I think it'll hold up. I'm not going to be handling that much, but if it ever does start coming off, I'll let you know, and I'll let you know what I do. For now, looks great. Then we have Tokyo Tower, which here are the details for that. My plan for this one was to do it in a hoop finish, and here it is. So this is in one of those Busilla frames that has space for the hoop on the back. I finished it just like the Purranormal Activity one, and here is how it looks in the frame. I added my initials down here, like on the picture itself. I didn't feel like they needed to be super obvious. I just wanted to have them there. You know, I'm keeping the frame natural for now. If I put another one of these up, I'll stain it so that it's slightly different. And I think it turned out great. I used some chipboard to center it in this, and I don't plan on taking this one out of this frame. It took a lot of effort to get it centered in there, to get it centered in the hoop, and then also to get it centered in this space. So it will be staying like this for quite a while. All right, 2 more finishes that I have here. I finished this 2 years ago for Pride. It's by the Witchy Stitcher, and it's lovely. It's wonderful. I got the stand from 123 Stitch. It's a Chantel 141 design, and I really liked it because it's very simple, and I had this idea where I could paint the whole thing this kind of turquoisey blue and put magnets on either side so that whatever I finish can be swapped out with magnets, and I have the option of a blue side or a white side. Honestly, this one would go with either side in my opinion. I liked it on the white side, and that'll allow me to honestly just keep up 2 at a time and flip it, which will be better for me to remember to actually decorate it and then switch them out when I need to. The trim for this one and for around the Luffy finish is by Purple Mountain Crafts on Etsy. She has really good prices. She was recommended by Helen D. So when I went to that store and started adding stuff to my cart and remembered it was the one that was on Helen D's Flosstube, I bought a whole bunch. So that was like my little haul for this time. I just needed some trim to just like give it that final touch. I do have plans to finish more of those on 5-inch rounds so that I can interchange them out. My last fully finished object, it is Festive Forest by the Blue Flower, and this is how it turned out. Oh my goodness. Also, shout out to my back-facing camera on my phone because the focus on this is unreal. So cool. This is my very first time finishing something like this, especially like sewing on something that's not cross-stitch fabric to a finish. Perfect. Here's what the top looks like. There definitely, I would like to put something in the top because where everything meets, it's a tiny bit messy. It looks so cool. And then here's the bottom. It's this velveteen. It's from Lady Dot Creates in the recommended color for this pattern. And it is actually stuffed with fabric scraps. I wanted something that would be heavy and substantial, but my husband is allergic to tree nuts. And so lizard glitter is not going to fly here. I'm not even sure if it would give him a reaction, but why take the chance, right? And I used fabric scraps. I probably put an entire pound of fabric scraps in here, but I used the like really tiny off-cut stringy spaghetti ones and really stuffed them in here. And so the next time I finish something like this, I'm gonna have to figure out something else to put in it because I used up almost all of my scraps from like the last 10 years, which I just thought was funny. I did this like whip stitch along the bottom, or I guess you could more call it like a blind stitch, where I went up. I did one on the velveteen, and then I went on the cross stitch fabric, and then on the velveteen and cross stitch fabric, going the direction I was sewing. And so when you kind of pulled it together, it came together well. Had to redo this like 2 times because the cross stitch wasn't necessarily covering the corners how I wanted them to. They were like really sticking out. And so it was kind of a frustrating process, but I'm glad that I got it done. And I really, really love that it's Festive Forest and it's like holiday themed, but this will be able to be kept up all winter long. I love this, and I would do this format again. It was really, really cool. New starts. Neither one of these should be a big surprise if you watched my previous Flosstube. I dyed the fabric for these. It was just really nice to get them started, and I felt like all of them got started in like the time they were supposed to be started. That's why I love to have several projects kitted up. I probably have almost 12 projects kitted up right now because there was a week where I was just absolutely obsessed with kitting up things. I would get done with a meeting and then I'd walk over to the kitchen table and be like, I think that one would go better with that one. And then walk back and check my email and stuff. So this one is Nature's Journey. It is a free pattern that appeared in Just CrossStitch over the course of 2025 by Sprouting and Lupine. And I wanted this to be a really fun stitch for me, so I wanted to tie it to something that was happening in the year. So I decided in January, when I had finished all of these really big projects, that I would start Nature's Journey in the winter to finish that section in the winter. So here is what I have so far. This was so much fun. I was pretty concerned about whether I would even like this because there's space in between each motif. I wasn't sure how I'd feel about having the colors travel, and I just wasn't sure. These took a really long time to import into Markup RXP because the digital pattern is not out yet. If the digital pattern was out yet, I probably would have bought it just to import it. It was a labor of love because I really wanted to see if I like this style at all. And Sprouting Lupine is a designer that I really admire and like. So I figured that this would be a good one to do because, you know, I had a year-long project last year. This is my year-long project this year. So this is what the winter section looks like. And I was just planning on showing you that because theoretically, I would have filmed a Flosstube before spring like fully took over. But instead, I have a good start on the spring portion. The colors of this are so beautiful. I really like how the elements do cross over into other sections and the colors do change, but they seem to happen more gradually than just like a stark line that you see with some like Wheel of the Year pattern. I've been loving working on this spring section and I have had to switch to be 5200 because this fabric is a little bit too close to white. If I was to do this again, I actually might start it on Vintage Country Mocha just to make sure all the lighter colors stood out. If I need to do backstitch around some of the white stuff, that's fine. I will get over myself. It is now 44.13% done, which is awesome. I am probably about 65 to 70% done with this spring part, and it will be done by the end of spring. This one is really difficult to put down because it's another just one more thread, one more thread, one more thread, one. I keep having all these projects calling to me and just gotta make it work, right? And I do want to show you what the back looks like for this one. I'm trying to keep it pretty and nice as I keep going here. As you can see, when I got to the white in the bottom one, I was like, let's just go across because it's a lighter color. You know, it's a balance, right? I want it to be pretty on the back, but it doesn't actually matter to me as like the top thing I'm worrying about when I'm stitching. My other new start, which is another really big one, is Autumn Town by Autumn Lane Stitchery. Here's the info on this. This is a fabric that I dyed in my previous Flosstube, and I dyed it apple green on 20 count Aida. And this is using my own floss conversion. I've only used about 4 colors so far, and those, I believe, are the called for DMC colors. But as I go along, if you have a question on some of the colors that I'm using, please feel free to ask in the comments. I will get together my full conversion when I'm closer, probably to the end of this project, because I'm still not 100% sure what colors I'm going to be using for the trees. So this is what I have so far. I'm at 16.57%. I've done 4,116 stitches on this. It looks like a lot and also does not look like anything. My goal is to do all the houses first and then go up to the sky here and do all of that fill in because it's a lot of blue and it's a lot of just block stitching. And then I want to do the tree trunks, and then I want to fill in all of the tree areas. And I think that would be really cool because then I can really control which direction I'm going in with my fancy floss. I would like to make them like kind of swirly and look like leaves. And I want it to have everything else in place so that when I do that, I'm making the best design possible. And that really appeals to me and gets my brain like really excited. So that's what we're doing. I started this on the 18th of February, worked on this in like one really big chunk so far, and it's becoming due that I work on it again. So my goal is actually to be able to put the final stitches in this in October because October is my absolute favorite month and I'm doing a lot of traveling that month. So I think that will be really awesome. But that means I have to do about 5,000 stitches every month. So we'll see if I can hold up to that. Another new start is Bones, the animal cracker. He, I'm calling him a he, is by Stacy Nash. This is a total of 5,169 stitches. And I bought this in PDF form on Stacy Nash's website. So here's what I have so far. Looking pretty cute. My goal was definitely to get all of the details done in here so that I could just fill in black when I have a bad day. As happened a couple times. A bad day, or we have to watch something with subtitles, which happens more than you think in this household. I love him. He's going to have a little skeleton mask as well, and fish. This fabric is Fiber on a Wind Moonstone. And it's 18 count, and I'm using sulky threads on this. I did my own conversion. Let me know if you would like the conversion, and I'm happy to write that up for you. He's just adorable. Sulky on 18 count is mwah, magic, beautiful, love it. It is different to work with, so that's neither a good or bad thing. And this is a very rare occasion where I have not cut the fabric at all, because I do plan on doing more animal crackers. So I think it would be nice to just kind of go along and keep using this fabric for the fronts so that it's really continuous. I love the look of this fabric. I might have to freeze some of it eventually for another project. Who knows? I'm at 54% on this one, and I've done 2,796 stitches. There will be a few more stitches than the 5,100 that I mentioned earlier, because you're supposed to do multiple of the little fish that come on the side, but we'll see. I don't know. I don't have necessarily planned to do 3 of them right now. I might just do 1. 2 more starts. There's so many starts. I definitely did not say that I had enough starts. My stats are all wrong. Don't listen to past me. Listen to current me. Very happy that I started this one. This is Russian Blue from Riolis. It is a kit I bought through 123 Stitch. It has only 3,626 stitches. And I did take a picture of it and import it into Markup RXP, because that's just the kind of person I am. It is on 10 count, maybe 9 count. I've counted it multiple times, and I think it's 10 count. 2 strands of wool, like a wool acrylic mix, over 1 Aida square. And you can already see, here, I'll put this board behind it. You can already see the tops of the ears are really coming along. This is actually just 1 color. I really wanted to start it because Leia's 14 years old, and I knew that if something happened to her, I probably wouldn't want to start it. So I want to get a good start on this. It's only 3,600 stitches. I think I can finish it in a relatively short period of time, so that this is something that I can enjoy with the good memories of my cat, and not worry about it being something that makes me really, really sad, because I do think that we are kind of getting close to that point. More about that in the live update. I am going to make an alteration to the jawline right about here. I have a picture. I'll share it. The picture here. I was able to get a picture of her in pretty much the same angle. And so I think I'm going to round that out a little bit. She's a little bit chubbier in the face. And my cat actually isn't a Russian blue cat. She just looks exactly like one. She's most likely some sort of mutt that just ended up looking like a Russian blue. But we honestly don't know, because they found her somewhere and just rescued her. This is Russian Blue by Riolis. By the way, the Riolis kit, I don't really like it. So I will not buy any more Riolis kits until I finish this one. If there's a design that particularly speaks to me, like this one, I think it's worth getting it again. But I don't enjoy working with this wool stuff. It gets so fuzzy, and by the end of the strand, the stitches are starting to lose their definition, and I'm not a fan of that. Also, working on this big of Aida is kind of a wild experience. It's also difficult to see and also easy to, I don't know. Anyways, I have some gripes. That's why we're going to finish this one fast. We're going to get it out of here. My last start is one that I designed myself. I just want to make it clear. I have actually no plans to ever make money off of any of my hobbies ever again, unless it is some sort of charity situation. I think that in the past, I've made my hobbies my job, and that caused a ton of burnout. And I'm recognizing about myself that it's better to just tell myself, no, you can't do that anymore. You're banned. I will have this pattern available. I made a coffee, you know, the link will be in the description. You can download it for free if you want. I will put the tip option on there if you wish to pay me something in return for this. I am not requesting that you do. Just pay if you would like to. If you would like to add a tip, that's fine. But you by no means need to pay for it, because I love this design so much, and the original artwork is not mine anyways. So I wouldn't necessarily feel super comfortable selling it. If you do make it, please tag me. That's all I ask. All right, so big design reveal. Here's the design. I, like many people, was incredibly inspired by having our astronauts up in space, going around the moon, taking pictures of the dark side of the moon. And these pictures came out from a Ukrainian photographer several months ago and kind of have been conflated with the NASA Moonjoy experience, which was just so fun. It was so captivating. It was so positive to see, especially to see these incredibly intelligent women leading the mission from Houston. And, you know, they're about my age, probably they're a little bit older, but about my age. To see somebody with that amount of passion, with that amount of knowledge, and to be able to do what they love makes my heart so happy. And the crew on board the Artemis seemed like they are just really good people and really supported each other. And that is always very nice to see. So I think celebrating Moonjoy is also kind of a message of resistance in this time of like, everything's nuts. Who knows what's going to happen today? Anything, literally anything could happen. And I don't like that. But Moonjoy is forever, and the moon will always be there for us. So here is how far I've gotten. I love this stitch so much. I, in particular, was captivated by the photography of the Ukrainian, whose name I'll put here, because I'm not going to try pronouncing it right now. That's not what my mental capacity is here for today. The photograph of the colorful moon taken by special cameras to really show off the different types of minerals on the moon's surface. I don't even really care if that's 100% real. I'm going to be honest with you. It was just beautiful and made me see science in a different way, which is a lot of times all I'm asking for. Is give me a different point of view. Give me something to wonder over. And that photo is wonderful. My sister-in-law was also captivated by it. And so I thought I was having a really bad day when I spent time charting this. And I used it as a distraction. So I could send the pattern as a gift to my sister-in-law. She also cross stitches. But also so that I can make it myself and then share it with you guys. Link will be in the description to my Ko-Fi. If you would like to download this pattern, you do not have to pay for it, but you are welcome to if you insist. I do have a couple other patterns that I've made here and there that I can put up on there as well. I will show you another one of them in my next Flosstube. But like I said, I don't really have intention of making this a side hustle or anything. This is just something I really want to share for the love of the game. Yeah. I'm just so happy with this. It's looking so good. The colors are so awesome. Let me show you the colors. So we got some purples and blues here. And I did, when I was designing the pattern, I specifically chose like a deep, rich, almost gemstone solid. A deep, rich gemstone, like darker color. And then I chose a lighter version of that same color to help provide shade and balance. So here are some of the warm colors. Here are some of the gray colors of the moon. And then I also have a couple colors that I have not gotten to yet, but got some yellows and greens and a punchy red and another gray that will be probably the last thing I stitch because there's a lot of it. I will say there's a bit of confetti in this pattern, but I did make it myself. So I colored over the picture with the pixels how I thought they should go. And most confetti things are only a few stitches away from another block of that color. This is not my favorite type of stitching, but this is one situation where the process stitching kind of falls away for me because the process was really fun making the design itself. Now, I'm not super enjoying the process of stitching it except for seeing my own work come to life, but I really want to have the finished product because I think it's beautiful and I want to hang it on my wall and think about these really good memories from this year whenever I can. Literally all the time. So this is what the back looks like. I've done a little bit of traveling here and there. It's on black Aida. This is 16 count black Aida, 2 over 1 square. And, you know, it's just going to be what it is. Full coverage is an entirely different ballgame. So I'm still learning stuff. I'm not parking threads. I'm just going until a thread is finished, if I can get that far. And I'm alternating between gray threads and color threads to make sure that when I'm getting over into these areas I haven't really ventured into yet, I have checks and balances. Because I discover mistakes a lot. I can't believe how many projects this is. This is so much work. I stitched about 10,000 stitches in January and about 12,000 stitches in February and about 12,000 stitches again in March. And I'm on track to hit about 13 to 14,000 this month. So this is probably over 50,000 stitches. Life has been weird, y'all. So another big piece that I worked on was Ragnarok. I'm trying to get 5,000 stitches in this a month if I can. That is an unrealistic goal and I am aware of that. So I try to do 5,000 stitches when I pick this up and I do not put it down until I've done those 5,000 stitches. Here I just did another page. So I finished up this page over here with the horse's butt and my initials. I left out the year for now. It will have the date inserted when I'm done with it. And then I did this page over here. This was a very, very difficult page for me because it was mostly that huge flower and other flowers and very few animals. And I got so bored. I was literally cursing. But looking at the rest of the pattern, I really do love every other page of this pattern. This was the one I just had to suffer through. Labor of Love. I'm making this for my husband. This is on 20 count Rustico Aida. And here's what the back is looking like so far. I've done a fairly good job of keeping it clean. But of course, there is the occasional knot. And last work in progress, I can't believe we've made it, is Mary Morgan's. Here is the info on this project. I'm working this up on Vintage Country Mocha. This is 20 count, 1 strand over 1 square. And I'm using all the called for DMC, which this is a pattern that it's all charted in DMC, which I really appreciate for some of us who don't want to buy 25 over-dyed threads. Here's what it looked like the last time I showed you. And here's what it looks like now. So as you can see, I have done these really heavy floral sections in the middle because a lot of people when talking about this one say do that part first because it can be kind of a pain in the butt at the end. But I wanted to do a center start on this just to make sure I was in the middle of my fabric. And I loved doing the full coverage flowers. I loved it. I couldn't stop stitching on it. I am having trouble moving on. So I literally have the opposite problem that I was trying to avoid. This always happens. I did start one little spot of the border that goes above these flowers because I needed to get to a round number. I think I was like really close to putting in 5,000 stitches and I was like, I can't leave it at 4,992. Like that's not me. So I added that thread in and it's ready to go whenever I want to pick this up again. We'll see. Honestly, I am thinking about just completing it as charted. I would love to rechart it myself and make it something that's like super wonderfully attuned with all of my design instincts and stuff like that. But I don't have the mental brain power to do that. I know that I'm capable of it, but I also know that this is a fun craft. So if I just follow the chart, it's going to be fine. I've already done 30% on this one. That's probably why I did those extra 7 stitches. That's really far in this, especially since this is a relatively small portion of the stitch itself. So I'm just going to keep going on this and see where it takes me. I really want to get to that alphabet, so I'll probably go up and do that next. And there's also a chance that I might call this at some point and be like, it's great as it is. So we'll see. I'm not going to start on the big outer border yet, just in case I don't want to do it. And we'll see where that goes. Oh, let me show you my back on that one because it's another full coverage situation. This fabric is really unmanageable though. I have realized I don't really like doing projects this big, but I love this one so much that I'm willing to suffer through. So I'm actually loving how the back of this looks. This was the first project that I decided that I was going to start and end the color only in its own section. So if I need to cut a color out, which has happened probably 10 times already, if I need to cut a color out, then I can easily do it without being interfered with the other threads or cutting them. And that has really helped. So it's helped make my back look clean, and that gives me peace of mind that if I made a really bad mistake, I can rip it out and it's not going to cause me to cry, which may or may not have happened in the past. I'd like to do some shout outs to some other Flosstubers that I've been watching lately. I've been diligently catching up on my Flosstube, and I am only 2 months behind. Things happen. So if I mention all these people, I am caught up to their videos from 2 months ago, and they're all awesome. Thick Threads. Eli is awesome. He was super welcoming to me when I joined YouTube, and you should just check him out. He has very similar projects to me, loves the bright colors. I may have even mentioned him before, but I really think you should try him out. He's also a community builder, so he really does a good job reaching out to other people, and it's just cool to know him. Stitching with Charlie, I know for sure I've mentioned her before. Charlie is an awesome, another community builder. She does a really wide variety of projects, some of them which are totally my style, and some of them are different from my style. She's just lovely. It also is kind of validating when someone with a chronic illness shares that they're experiencing issues, because sometimes it can feel very lonely having a chronic illness. Another Flosstuber that I think you should check out is Tommy Creates. Tommy is like future me. Eclectic, is designing some of her own designs right now, and her projects tend to be very colorful, and she like makes a lot of clothes and crafts, and she has a bird, and just I want to be her someday. So Tommy Creates, make sure to check her out. I know she's getting close to 1,000 subscribers, so go check her out. Another stitcher I've been watching a lot is Chandria at Wandering Foot. She has been doing Flosstube for a little bit now, and she has some really good projects. She also shares a lot of viewpoints that I share, and so it's really nice to hear her talk about those things in a way that it also affects her cross-stitching. And I think she does a really good job of that. And lastly, I have to shout out Katie Ann as well. Katie Ann Stitches on YouTube. She is just a ray of sunshine. It's been really cool to watch her just like be herself on Flosstube, which is cool. That's one of the reasons why I like Flosstube. I can just be myself here, and you guys can either take it or leave it, right? And she does a lot of very cool projects. And I also love that she has kind of this eclectic style, but also does projects that fit in with her decor. And I just really love thinking about that as a concept. It's just really cool. Her story is also really cool if you watch her first Whip Parade. I also tried to mention a book that I've been reading and really, really enjoyed. So usually this ends up being a 5-star book. I constantly have a rotating selection of books in my Libby app, and I'm just always trying to get through them. I love it. A book that I read recently that was easily a 5-star for me was Richard Osman's The Impossible Fortune. It is the 5th book in the Thursday Murder Club series, and I was surprised that a 5th book came out because he was taking some time to write other books first. This series is so wonderful. It takes place in a retirement village in the UK, which is great because everyone has an accent. It's lovely, it's cozy, and they solve murders. But the thing is that most of the characters in these books are older and are, experiencing a lot of the issues that come along with that. And the way Richard Osman writes them is so humane. Like, you just feel for them. They're complex people, and sometimes they do the right thing, sometimes they don't do the right thing, and they deal with those consequences. And the way that this is written with just so much humanity and care is not something you often see about people of older age. And a book like this is affirming because we will all age, hopefully. We will all age, and to see somebody being so kind and generous with their view and the way they write them and the way they really feel like really real people is so wonderful. So 5 stars. I love all of his books so far. Obviously, I've read a ton more books. I've probably read like 30 books already this year. I will put my Storygraph link in the description if you'd like to check out more books that I've read. I do write reviews for every single one, mostly to remind myself of like what the heck it was about, but feel free to dive into those, especially if you want to look at the 1-star review that I gave. I finished the book, but I was really mad about it. For the game for this week, I wanted to share one that I really enjoy, and it's one of my friend's actually favorite games to play with him and his wife. It's a 2-player game. It's called Patchwork, and it's a puzzle but it's also a game. You're fitting pieces together. You're trying to get as many buttons as you can, and the theming is very cute, and I love it in my brain. Super good for 2 people. This is relatively portable, so you can take it with you if you're going on a road trip or something like that. I recommend you check it out. Okay, so now is the section where we're doing a little life update. It's kind of depressing, if I'm honest with you. I won't hold it against you if you just want to be like, peace, I'm out. I do have a little bit of haul at the end of the video, so you can skip forward to that if you want. So life update. I filmed my last Flosstube on January 3rd. I posted on January 10th because Minnesota it was not good. It was very, very bad. Mentally, we were in anguish every day here. Just really, really struggling. So I put up that video. It took me 7 days to edit it because I just couldn't imagine like looking at happy things, honestly. And I posted it. So there's all that stuff going on. We were trying to get as involved with our community as we could. It was a very difficult time. And I live in St. Paul. So there were bad things happening here. There were bad things happening in the suburbs. There were bad things happening in all parts of the state. And now that we have ice out of the state, things are a little bit better, but there's still a huge presence here. People are still afraid of leaving their homes, and our economy suffered quite a bit during this time that no one was going out, especially going out to eat. There were 3 weeks there where we just like didn't leave our houses. We didn't go to work. I mean, I didn't go to work because I could do my job from home, but it didn't feel safe going downtown. There was a lot of stuff happening, and the collective trauma of that has been astonishing. Thank you to everyone who sent like support, wishes, and especially anyone who donated money to help the people who didn't feel safe. I'm going to put a link in the description to a rent relief fund and the Salt Cure Fund. The rent relief fund goes directly to people who are having trouble making rent, especially because of the occupation. And the Salt Cure Fund is to make sure that our businesses, that our really wonderful food scene here stays protected, especially businesses that were heavily impacted by the lack of being able to bring people into their restaurants, or being afraid to even open their restaurants. Please check both of those things out. If you have a little bit of extra money to donate, they would very much appreciate it. On top of this, I started having some chronic health issues. This is not new news, but it got really bad because of the immense amount of stress. I just never really fully recovered from going to Japan because it's a lot on your body to do that, and you don't get a lot of rest while you're there because you want to do everything. And then the holidays, it just kept feeling like everything was happening. And so my body basically broke down. Thankfully, it's nothing new. I guess that's one part of it where I'm like, okay, I've seen this before. I kind of know what's going on, but I still don't have a lot of answers. So I'm trying to get some answers, doing some tests, things like that, things that have not really been considered for, and I've been really advocating for myself of like, I would like to know what the heck is happening here. I took a little bit of time off of work. I started with a new therapist, like all of the stuff, just because I was feeling completely out of control in my own life. And like, you can handle like 2 things that make you like feel like a little bit like, ooh, not so sure. But like once it gets up to like 5 things that you have going on that you're just like, I can't. Like, I don't know which way to go. I don't know where to spend my energy. And so I'm doing quite a bit better now mentally, which is great. That's what I wanted, is just like to be able to think clearly again. I'm at work. That's fine. I've had to take a little bit of time off and a lot of sick days, but my boss is really supportive and she is just great. And then our cat Leia has been pretty sick lately. Like I said earlier in the video, she's 14. She has a lot of Instagram posts if you want to go see my Instagram of all the cute pictures of her. There's something wrong. And we ran the tests that we thought were appropriate. But in order to truly find out what's wrong with her, we would have to put her under and do some deeper tests. And that would not cure anything. That would only reveal the problem, and it would be very, very expensive. We're treating her and making sure she's really comfortable and just giving her all the pet. So yeah, if you have love for Leia, just send her a couple wishes that she has a really good day. We're hoping to give her as many good days as we can, and are bracing for the fact that it might be kind of soon. We thought we were doing everything right. We switched her food to a really high calorie thing because she was losing weight, and we're like, okay, we're gonna get on this. We're going to feed her twice a day, make sure she has everything that she needs, and she's eating voraciously. She loves the food, and she lost a pound in 2 months still. So she's only like 6.8 pounds. So it's just not something that's likely to get better. Those of you with pets know how it is. Like, I am so grateful for the time that I've had with her. She is such an angel and she's given me so much. So I am mostly just grateful, and then obviously sad comes and goes. So that's what's been going on. Really positive things. Work has been going well. I finished a huge project at work and it felt like a weight lifted off my shoulders, which felt great. Friends and family are doing well, and I've been able to see so many little boogers, little babies, and they're lovely, and I love all of them. And I've gotten really into Brewers baseball this year. Huge Brewers baseball fan this year, especially. I think I've watched every single game except for 2 that happened to be during a work day. It's just been really fun to me. I've been using it as a time to not be on my phone and to just cross stitch or do something else that brings me joy. So I'm obsessed with it, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. I might be a little bit annoying about that, but that's okay. Quick haul section. I have bought some other stuff here and there. Like I have mentioned that I bought some trim. It's not that stuff very exciting to me. And I have bought quite a bit of extra cross stitch fabric in like vintage country mocha, smoky white, black. Again, not sure if that's super interesting, but it is good to have it stocked up. So I wanted to get some really nice fabric for the other design that I have, which is kind of like fan art. It's Gudetama from Sanrio, if you have any concept of what that means, and I'll share it next time. So I wanted to go with some printed fabric. I tried out this new seller, new to me, called the JedXstitchery on Etsy. I'll put their link in the description, where they do digital printing on pretty much every type of Aida, and then a couple counts, like 1 count of linen and a couple counts of Lugana. I thought linen would be really fun for this pattern that I'm working on. This is what I got. This has been cut down for the piece. This piece is going to my sister-in-law so she can also stitch the piece, because this was another request from her. She's been inspiring me lately too. And it's just a really cool, like, dreamy background. This one is called Unicorn Dreams, and it's on 36 count linen. I will say, this is my first experience with printed things besides the Zweigart printed, like, smoky white and vintage country mocha, and I'm pretty impressed with how it is. I don't feel like you can see the white when you look through sideways, and I feel like this is going to stay on really well. I don't know, so I figured I'd try it. And then I couldn't resist. I got a piece of Rainbow Haze. This is 20 count Aida Essential. This might as well be tan, like in my book. And again, pretty impressed with the quality. Have not stitched on either one of these yet, so I will keep you updated. But if you are the type of person that constantly wants to try new things, I think it seemed really cool, and their designs are like legit good. If you have any recommendations for digital printing Aida that you really like, please let me know. I would love to try some of the metallic printed Aida. I've heard that sometimes it can just be glitter, and that scares me. So if you have a really good recommendation for some sparkly Aida that is actually printed and is like woven into the fabric, I would love to hear. But that wraps it up for today. I hope you enjoyed this most likely very long video. Please feel free to leave your comments. Let me know what you're working on right now. Like, what are you really into? And check out my Moonjoy pattern. Like I said, I don't expect anyone to donate any money for it. Like, just download it. If it really speaks to you, please stitch it, because that'd be awesome. I just would love to have more of it in the world, and I think it's really timely. Please send some good thoughts for Leia. She's doing her best. Princess Leia Batman. But, we just like to have some more really good days with her where she's really happy. I hope that you are okay considering the circumstances, and like I said in the beginning, are finding those moments of joy where you can. I'm so glad that this craft has brought me so many awesome people that I get to communicate with now, and I'm so grateful for the joy that this brings me in this time where a lot of things are uncertain. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sticking in there with me, and I should be back sooner than 4 months from now, but it might be, 1 or 2. And I will talk to you then. Bye.